What is up, everybody? What's going on? Ethan Newberry, the Ginger Runner, here for another Ginger Runner Live. This is episode number 25, and I am joined by the beautiful and wonderful
Kimberly.
I am so sorry for making you guys wait. As always, it's a day of travel for us. We were spending the weekend in San Francisco, and of course, as we always do, we travel down the day after the race, and it just took us a long time. So right now we're in Solvang, California. We've been driving all day. We're exhausted, as you can probably tell in our faces. We're going to do the best as we can for tonight's show. You guys have been so patient. Welcome to another episode. And I'm also hoping that the internet holds up and you can hear me. That is, to be totally honest, I'm hoping you guys can even hear me because everything's a little bit different right now. we're just hoping it works. Okay, welcome to Ginger Runner Live.
Ginger Runner.
Yes! Oh, awesome. Awesome. So as I mentioned, this weekend was a big weekend for both of us. High five it. Why is that, Kim? Why is it a big weekend?
Because we ate sourdough?
Yeah, because we ate sourdough. We both ran the San Francisco Marathon. This is our fourth time running it. I've run the full 4 years in a row. Kim did the first half, the second half, the full marathon, now the full marathon again. And we're going to talk a bit about it tonight. We're going to talk about our experience this weekend, how it was different from previous years, how the marathon is compared to other marathons that we've run, road or trail. Already, you can see that the chat room has been going for hours. It is obviously now 8:40 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. The show normally starts at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, so you guys have been so patient. I haven't even scrolled through. We literally walked into our hotel room. I'm scrambling to get the Wi-Fi together, so hoping it sticks on. Hoping that Wi-Fi stays with us for the duration of the show. I just want to make sure that the comments are saying, hey, audio is good, video is choppy. I think it's going to happen because we're Wi-Fi. They don't have hardwire in this specific hotel. As long as you guys can hear our audio, that is really what we care about because we're going to turn this into a podcast. So keep the comments coming. If you guys are watching live, join us in the comments section and let us know. Oh my God, the video! The video signal is going here. It is so choppy. Oh boy.
Audio good, video choppy.
Yeah, audio good, video choppy. Hoping you guys are getting decent audio. That is all I necessarily care about.
But that freeze frame is pretty great.
Yeah, the freeze frame that we're seeing right now on my laptop is pretty priceless. All right, well let's start talking about the race. Oh wait, yeah, of course.
Ding.
Kim has to ding the glass. So as with every show, I like to drink, whether it's a local brew or cider or something like that. So basically, before the race, I go beer shopping, and I bought 2 bottles of beer, one for right after the race, which is tradition for me, and one for usually like the day after or something like that. So right after the race, I had it was a beer from, I don't remember where it was from, but it was called Uncle Jesse. And we were in San Francisco, and Full House obviously took place in San Francisco, so I had to drink the Uncle Jesse. This is Marin Brewing Company. This is not Uncle Jesse. This is Marin Brewing Company, so this is up towards the San Francisco area. So I had to give it some props. It's called White-Knuckle Double Ipa Ale. Kimberly may not like it. Kimberly, you don't necessarily like IPAs.
Not really into the IPAs, but anything for you.
This is why I put a ring on it. This is why I'm marrying this girl. You may have to speak up a little bit, Kim, just because the mic is so close to me.
Got it.
All right, let's pop this open.
Joe Chick says video is working here.
Great. Okay. Audio is okay. Video is not that bad.
Another video looks good.
Audio is good too. Video is okay.
Good.
Sounds great. Awesome. Maybe the Wi-Fi in this hotel is giving me all the priority. It's like, oh man, someone is leeching the Wi-Fi from room 218. That's not our room. Oh, Kim, you're not gonna like this.
Is it arm-pitty?
That's hoppy. That is hoppy.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm gonna love it. Kim is not gonna love it.
You have first dibs.
Okay. All right. Mmm.
It's really
tastes
really
like
hoppy.
the car. No, it tastes warm. So we haven't had it. Whatever. It's beer. Mmm. I love it. When you drink it, think about flowers. Think about flowers.
Not armpits.
Not armpits. Think about flowers. Yeah. Yeah. Think about flowers. Think about grapefruit. Think about the things you like. She's not a fan.
It's fine.
It's fine. Yeah.
It'll do.
We also have a bottle of wine, which we'll probably partake in later. So tonight's show, we're not going to go super late. You guys have been so patient. We want to make sure that we give you guys the full breakdown. Yeah, Kim, keep your eye on the chat in case I miss it.
Raul's wondering where my trucker hat is.
Oh, do you want to grab it?
It's in the car.
Oh, we didn't bring it in.
Yeah, it's in the car.
It's a great trucker hat. Our friends at Rain Shadow Running, you remember the gorge race that I filmed? James Varner, the whole crew there at Rain Shadow Running, just rad. And they have these really cool custom handmade hats, trucker hats. Hand painted.
Mm-hmm.
And they sent one to me. They sent one to Kim, and Kim's ears is awesome.
I wore it for the race yesterday.
Yeah.
Lots of comments.
And obviously did great. You did wonderful. So I don't want to spoil anything. I don't want to spoil the San Francisco Marathon yet, because there are stories from this particular race. All right, so here's how the whole trip went down. And interrupt whenever. If you see a question or something like that, if I miss something, just let me know. And if you can't hear Kim, let her know, because again, the mic is just attached
People
to
are
here.
already quoting arm-pitty, so I think they can hear me.
Arm-pitty. Arm-pitty. Okay, so here, the San Francisco Marathon is a marathon both Kim and I, for the last couple of years, have run. We have a big affection.
Yeah.
We have a big affection for the city of San Francisco. Would that be correct? We like San Francisco.
We crush on it.
We do crush on it pretty hard.
Yeah.
Beautiful city. The culture there is awesome. The scenery is beautiful. And when you can run a marathon around the entire city, all the roads are open, and you can just run right around. You got to take advantage of it.
Have to do it.
And it includes running across the Golden Gate Bridge, which is kind of a really cool thing. And you run through the Golden Gate Park, and you see these really great sights that if you wanted to try to do it all in one day normally, it would be very difficult. So you get the opportunity to do all this during the race, and it's awesome. So we have an affection for the city. I don't.
One more time.
That's not the term I want to use. I forget. I don't know the word. Whatever.
Boner.
We have a boner for San Francisco, both of us, male boner, lady boner. So we knew we wanted to go back. How we have been doing this traveling thing for the last couple of years is we'll drive up on Saturday. It just saves money because flying up there it's fast, but it still costs like $100 per person each direction, or $60 or $70 per person per direction, and it's cheaper to drive. So we drove up Saturday morning. We go straight to the expo as we normally do. The expo has a new location at Fort Mason, which is awesome. I think we're both a fan of the new location of the expo. Before, you have to get downtown.
There's no parking.
There's no parking at the previous location. It was really difficult, and it's just kind of a clusterfuck in general. Fort Mason, we felt, at least from where we were coming, and our experience was, it was much quicker to walk in, and it's much more scenic because you're right on the water. There's a beautiful park right there, and you could sit and relax and enjoy the afternoon if you wanted to. Go pick up your bib and have a sandwich on the beach or whatever. So we like that side of it. I'm just generally not a big fan of expos as it is.
They're not great. They usually smell like BO.
This was no exception. I remember walking through and looking at Kim, and she just goes, "Yeah, BO." And you just whip it. It's like people are already
save
sweating.
It for the race.
Save it for the race, guys. Come on. So it's a super easy process. Their expo makes it really easy. We go pick up our bibs, we pick up our shirts, we basically take care of everything. We say hello to Brett Rivers, our buddy, co-owner of the San Francisco Running Company. He was there helping the Hoka booth out. And that guy is an incredible athlete, did amazingly well at Western States. Really, really sweet dude. And I think he's going on vacation right now. Well-deserved vacation. So he's actually doing that right now. So we ran into him. We ran into some fans, which is really always awesome. People coming running up to us like, "Hey, love the videos, love the content. Your blogs are awesome. You guys inspire us." So we love that.
Neither of us being from San Francisco, this is always the race that people seem to we either run into people or people seem to find us. Or...
At this race for some reason. So yeah, Saturday was pretty easy.
Yeah.
In a hotel. San Francisco hotels are ridiculous.
And parking at hotels is
crazy.
enormous.
So we tried to find an Airbnb just a little bit outside of the downtown San Francisco area. cheaper parking and better location, better restaurants, that kind of thing. More culture. What's going on in the chat? Did I miss anything?
No, still talking about arm-pitty expos now.
Yep, and love the lady boners, says Perdamont. I'm imagining the episode of Full House with Danny Tanner beating Joey and Jesse on the track measure. Every episode of Full House brings back memories when I'm in San Francisco. I love Full House. Why not? Please help yourself to this.
Oh, I will.
He's not going to drink any of it, so I will help myself. What else happened Saturday? Was that it? Oh,
we met up with some really grerit people.
A buddy of mine, Alex Varner. He's been on the show before. Did amazingly well at Way Too Cool. Lake Sonoma 50. An amazing runner. Friends with like Chris Vargo, Sally McRae, Team Nike. He's a Nike runner. He lives just north of San Francisco in Mill Valley, home to San Francisco Running Company, and some amazing athletes, including Debo and Brett Rivers and Jorge. I think they all live at least in that same area. So we met up with Alex Varner and his girlfriend, and
Who's a fellow Vancouverite girl.
It just happened to work out that way. Rochelle and Kim are both from Vancouver, BC, and Alex and I are both just really amazing runners. So he's so fast. He is so fast. So we all met up for dinner. A place that we like to go to, Gracias Madre, is this amazing Mexican food in San Francisco. If you get a chance to go there while you're visiting, do it. You will not be disappointed. But they had a huge wait, so we went to this other place. Hour plus long wait for a table of 4. So we opted to go to another restaurant, which you'd heard good things about, and enjoyed it. And then we basically went back to our respective homes and slept, because the race, San Francisco Marathon, begins at 5:42 for me. And what time for you?
It's supposed to start at 6:22 for my wave, but we started a couple minutes early.
Yeah, based off of the waves.
Mm-hmm.
So based off the waves, they could be 12 minutes apart, they could be 10 minutes apart, they could be 40 minutes apart. So we knew that if we had to be at the start line, for me, I'm starting at 5:42. We want to make sure that we get there like a half hour in advance so we can check the bag. And we had the privilege and we were so lucky. The San Francisco the San Francisco Marathon reached out to us and gave us the VIP bands. So they were like, hey, listen, why don't we give you guys the VIP bands, and you can show people that it is kind of this cool thing. And I'll be honest.
It's a cool thing?
It is a cool thing. It made a world of difference. And here's why. Number 1, we get to check our bags in a separate bag check area. Totally separate. Number 2, I'll let you do this one.
The thing I was most excited about?
Sure.
The pretty restrooms.
We get private bathrooms, so you don't have to worry about waiting in line for porta potties or anything like that. Number 3, you get access to a restaurant. The VIP lounge is in a restaurant called Perry's, just right there at the start line, and they are serving bagels and cream cheese and peanut butter, coffee, water,
food,
juice,
drink,
bananas, fruits, everything. And it's like barely touched because, there's only a handful of VIPs.
There was not that many people in there.
Anybody can get the VIP.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like, hey, we're very special, or you have to be an elite. It's like anybody can get it. I think Alex said it was like
I think it's like $100
or something. But if you think about it, you're getting food, free food.
Before and after.
And we'll get to that later. Drinks after.
A warm place to sit.
This year
was the warmest year that we had been there. The previous years, it's been cold.
Yeah, it's been really chilly.
Yeah.
You have to layer up, basically, before you get there. Okay, so long story short. We get there, we check in, we drop our bags off. It's a really early morning, so we had to get sleep the night before pretty early. I slept moderately well.
As usual, I did not.
And that's fine. Before a race, expect not to sleep. And that goes for an ultra, that goes for a marathon, that goes for a 5K. Like, just the night before, expect not to sleep.
Get your sleep the night before the night
before the night. And the whole week. If you can get a good night's sleep at least 4 or 5 of the days of that week, you should be pretty good. But we didn't sleep well the 3 nights leading up to it.
Yeah, we did not.
Because the night before we were traveling at like 6 in the morning, so we didn't get any sleep then, and I was packing. So Kim didn't get very good sleep. I got okay. I got maybe 2 hours.
2 hours, yeah.
Yeah, 2 hours. So we get to the start line, we check in, we do all that good stuff. Drop our bag. See Alex, see Rochelle, wish them luck. Alex was running the full marathon. He's also been dealing with a little bit of injury coming off of Western. But
he just ran.
Like he just ran Western weeks ago. He's like, oh, I'll just run the San Francisco Marathon. He's like, but, maybe I'll just keep an eye on my knee and make sure everything's good. He's also running Squamish. And he knows very well about the Squamish trails. He knows all about them because he's run up there and stuff. So he's saving a lot of his energy and a lot of his strength for that race because, he wants to do well there. So, yeah, we wish them well. We get into our respective corrals, our waves, and the race begins. Pretty, you want to describe, was there anything leading up to the race start for you that was different than normal? Good?
No, San Francisco every year is just notorious for being very, very organized, starting on time, being very diligent of who they're letting into which numbered corrals, which I like that because I like the organization of it. So it's just the usual, smooth. My corral was way far back. Got in my corral, sat down, relaxed.
Yeah, they do a good job there of keeping the crowd small in each wave, so you're not feeling like you're totally crammed in. You have a beautiful view at the start line, too, of the Bay Bridge, all lit up, and the sun is rising just as you begin.
So beautiful.
So it really is a beautiful race, and you kind of get caught up in it, which is it's awesome. If you got, as we start talking about the race and we tell our stories and stuff like that, if you guys have any questions about anything, excuse me, type them in the chat room. Let us know. Kim will keep her eye on it. I'll keep my eye on it when she's talking, so we can ask them.
There was a question from Henry. I didn't get the last name, asking if there was increased security at big races like this since Boston. And there has been some changes to the way San Francisco has been running. Hydration pack size. I'm trying to think of what else they. Yeah,
they don't allow you to enter the race with any pack larger than a hydration pack.
And they say like small to medium hydration pack.
Small to medium hydration pack, which is essentially a bladder. I think the Solomon 5L would probably be about as small as you could get away with. Basically anything you could fit a large appliance into, they're not going to let you in. Race bags. I think they would they give you bags at the expo where you can shove shit into them and stuff like that. Those are allowed into the race. So the security on that aspect, I thought it was a little raised. Other than that, there weren't metal security guard guys that are doing the wand around you. There was a lot more security at the LA Marathon than I had ever experienced this last year. It was still a little bit lax, but it wasn't terrible. And last year's San Francisco Marathon, I felt like was a little bit heightened because it was so close to Boston last year. But yeah, by no means did I ever feel like, oh, they're invading my privacy, or this is overwhelming. It was very casual, perfect. It was just like a really great non-clusterfucky start. Okay, so who do you want to do your marathon story?
Ahead.
Okay, so here's my marathon experience. I went into this race, and I filmed the race and the pre-race and all that stuff leading up to it, and I didn't really talk about this in the video. I realized I didn't actually talk about what my goals were going into the race or anything like that. I hate to refer to it this way because I don't know. I don't like the way it makes it sound, but the San Francisco Marathon for me was more, I went into it like, just treat it like a training run. Go easy, go moderate, don't push it. You need to save yourself for Squamish, which is in 3 weeks. You have a 50-miler followed by a 50K. This is not something that you need to blow out. If you do, you could potentially damage your body or your expectations for Squamish. So, like, at the start line, I wasn't nervous going into this because I just was looking at it as a training run. And if for some reason I needed to drop, I needed to quit, or I needed to walk, I was prepared for it. Like, it just was fine. If I feel bad or I feel nauseous or I get to a point where I'm totally bonking, walk it out. Like, just deal with it. Don't worry about time. So I was never even thinking about it. When the gun went off when we started, that's just kind of how I was rolling. I was just keeping it real casual, running into tons of Ginger Runner fans. Tons. It was awesome. It was so cool. In front of me and then taking a selfie with me. You don't have to be sneaky about it. Like, I'm totally into it. I think that's incredible to me that even is happening. So a lot of that was happening. I'm meeting a lot of people at the start line, and big corrals of people were pushing through, and it was really cool. But at the beginning of the marathon, it's crowded. This particular one kind of funnels you down the Embarcadero, and there's room for people to spread out, but still, the first mile, you're kind of jumping between people, different paces. I was in the third wave, so there weren't a ton of people that had already started. You had the elite wave, and then the second wave had a lot of half marathoners as well as like faster time. So I was just kind of weaving through, but also staying back. And the first half marathon of this is tough. It's really tough. I'm thinking all the hills are really steep, at least 1,000 feet of elevation over the course of the first half, which might not seem like much, but you're dealing with some pretty big hills that just pop out of nowhere. You know, going up to the Golden Gate Bridge, there's pretty big climbs. And then the Golden Gate Bridge itself is a huge climb. You don't think so, but it is. And it's gradual, and it still plays its part in like tearing you down without even realizing it. So some of the hills are 2 miles long with like a 5% grade, but by the time you get to the top, you're like, why am I so tired? Why am I going so slow? And it never really lets up for the first half marathon. So I knew this going into it, having run it a couple times, taking it easy, taking it moderate, enjoying the time. Getting over the bridge and turning around and coming back. So there's an aid station at the far end of the bridge on the north side in Marin. And there's a big aid station there. There's like a turnaround and all that good stuff. So I get to that aid station, and I knew basically what I was doing for nutrition this race was Tailwind. I was using all Tailwind, and I brought a couple of goos with me just in case I needed to switch to something a little bit different, more caffeine or just a jolt of energy. So I was sticking with Tailwind, and Tailwind has these new little individual packaged calorie sizes. So it's 200 calories for this little package of powder about this big. I knew that I could put 1 in my water bottle before the race, and then I'd have 2 that I could shove into my pockets. And here, you need it.
What does that mean?
It means you're just looking down. You're so sad.
You make me sad.
Great. I realize I talk a lot. I need to give Kim beer when I'm talking, just so something's entertaining. Oh, beer. I don't like it, but I'll drink it. So I had 2 packets that I would carry with me. Pretty minimal as far as I'm concerned with carrying nutrition for a marathon. I was really excited about it. So I finished the first bottle. I get to the aid station on the other side, which is like mile 7.5 or 8. I don't actually know. But it's about an hour in, which is just where I want to be. And I pull out the packet, and it has this little perforated edge. All you have to do is rip it. And at the other end of the edge is a little opening. So you just rip across the opening, and you pour the powder into your water bottle. So I start trying to rip it, and it's not ripping. Like I'm going like this, and it's not ripping. And I have a handheld in one hand, my GoPro in that hand as well. So then I'm taking the packet and putting it in my mouth and trying to rip it this way. Nothing's ripping. So I have to stop, and that is when I get fucking pissed. When I have to stop to take care of something that I am in charge of. So this is my responsibility. This is my choice to carry this stuff. So it's my fault. So when I have to stop and put my water bottle down and then do this and try to tear it, it's not tearing. I have to rip it with my teeth. And then the opening at the far end, when you rip across it, is that big. It's that big. And you have to pour powder out of it into a water bottle. So I'm literally sitting there for 3 to 4 minutes just going, just waiting for the powder. This looks terrible, by the way. I know. I realize that. It looks like I'm jerking off a giraffe into a Dixie cup. I have to... Or what?
My head.
Or I'm jerking Kim's head. Yes.
Whatever.
Well, we'll stop there. Thanks for watching.
Yeah.
No,
Good night.
So for 3 to 4 minutes, I'm having to basically pour the powder. That's even worse. What am I doing?
Stop it.
For those listening to the podcast, go watch the video version. It took 3 to 4 minutes to empty the powder packet into my water bottle. At that point, then I have to wait for the volunteers to pour individual Dixie cups into my cup, even though there's a hose behind the table where they can just pour it in. So they're wasting Dixie cups and wasting everything by just dumping tiny Dixie cups of water into my water bottle. I wasn't pissed. I was just like, I know I'm not in a rush. I know I'm not in a hurry, but I feel pretty good. And this is the plan that I had going into it, where it was going to be such an easy solution by just pouring powder into a water bottle and then going and not having to worry about goos and like carrying multiple items.
Did a guy jump out of the bush with a trombone?
No.
Be the brown.
No, unfortunately. So that kind of it just teed me off a little bit. I was really frustrated at that point. And you just watch all the runners go by. You're like, I passed. Yep, I passed all these people. I passed them. Now I have to go pass them again. So then you have to turn around and go back over the bridge. So I just kind of like kept my head down, kept running, ran into a bunch of people going the opposite direction, shouting out Ginger Runner, which was rad, including a girl that just was like, whee!
That was me.
But it wasn't at me. It was directed at someone else. I don't know who you're talking to or why. Okay, so first half, I get through the first half. You go through the park and felt good. At this point, my legs were feeling fine. I've been having some hamstring issues. Didn't bother me. My knees have been achy from all the climbing I've been doing lately. They were okay. So I knew that everything was going to be fine as long as I could just continue forward. I started getting tired around mile 16, just tired. Like the sleep started to hit me. And at that point, it was time to switch a water bottle again. Try to do the powder thing again at mile like 17 or 18 or something. So this time I knew beforehand I was going to pull it out, and while I'm running, try to tear it. And I'd give myself a good mile before I had to hit the aid station where I would fill it with water. So I emptied that bottle, so it was totally empty. Managed to tear it enough to get a tiny opening and ran and just let the powder go in there for a mile. Yeah, this is much better. Now I'm making a drink. I'm making a cocktail. So for a mile, I'm just letting the powder go into the water bottle, the empty water bottle. And then I get to the aid station, and a guy had a hose, and he was able to do the hose thing. So I just filled the water bottle and was able to go. So I took care of it. I had to think ahead, but it still managed to work out okay. With 5 miles to go, I still felt really strong. I never looked at the time. So I never looked at what my total time was. I just knew by feel how long of a duration it had been since I had changed bottles. I would look at the time on the, at 9:20, I knew I had to change the bottle as opposed to at 1 hour. I just looked at the clock because I kind of forgot what time I had started across the start line. So I knew with 5 miles left, I was like, you know what? I feel strong. I feel fine. I'm sluggish and I'm tired. I might as well just push the last 5 miles or so. So I kind of pushed it a little bit, not a ton, just push it a little bit. And then on my way down, I passed these two guys who were like, we can still make sub 3:45 or 3:50 marathon pace or something like that. And when I heard that, and I'm booking by him, I was like, wait a second, are we that close to my PR? My marathon PR is 3:43:58. To some people, that's a pretty pedestrian time. To other people, that's a crazy fast time. So I'm fully aware that it's technically a mid-packer time.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Marathon times don't fucking matter. I can't tell you how many people have asked me since I finished the marathon. So what was your time? What was your time? Or hey, good job with the marathon. What was your time?
I say it's like asking a woman her weight.
It is like asking a woman her weight.
We'll tell you if we want.
Rather than asking what their time was at a marathon, ask them how it went.
How they did.
How did you do? How did you feel? That's just my opinion. Because you're gonna get someone who's like, hey, what was your time? Oh, I was like 3:30. Oh, okay, because I was 3:10. You know, in their mind.
I had that day today.
Yeah.
I ran a 3:10.
It's just a way for people to boost the ego. Okay, so my PR, my marathon PR is 3:43:58. I got that at the Vancouver Marathon 3 or 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. Was really going for it that day. Felt super nauseous for periods of time and managed to push through.
We were in pretty good shape.
We were in good shape then, and I was working on speed and really trying to improve my time. I think my time before that was like 4:06, so I cut off like 20 minutes. So I was really happy at that time. When I passed these guys and I heard that they were talking like 3:45 possibility, I was like, wait, how close am I to my PR? But I refused to look. I was like, don't look. Don't let time determine how you feel or what you're doing to your body. This is a training run. For some reason, my mind still was telling me it was a training run. But I felt fine, so I was kind of pushing the pace. The last mile, I was like, let's just have fun. I kind of booked it a little bit. When I crossed the finish line, I looked down at my watch and it said 3:40. What was it? 3:44:54 is what my watch said on my when I crossed the finish line. I had started my watch at least a minute or.
Sorry, I'm yawning.
What the fuck?
I love your stories.
Give me the beer. Give me the. You don't even like it. It's too arm-pitty for you.
I feel like this is not.
The chat room. Oh, there it goes.
There. It hasn't updated in a really long time.
A really long time?
Yeah.
Oh, these all look new. Sorry. Kim loves to interrupt me right when I get to there.
Sorry.
If you need to scroll, just double finger and you can scroll up.
Great.
But be very cautious because if you scroll down too far, it will scroll down. Okay, just teaching Kim about computers. Isn't that crazy? She knows more about them than I do. 1 mile left. I'm like, all right, go for it. So, okay, cross the finish line. I forgot where I was.
You crossed the finish line. You looked at your watch, and it
3:44, 54. And I had started my watch before I started before I passed over the start line, because with a water bottle and a GoPro camera filming the start line, I couldn't go start my watch like that. So I always started just a little bit before. In this case, I wasn't even paying attention to the time all day, so it didn't matter. My final result, my final time, 3:44 even. My PR is 3:43.58. I missed my marathon PR by 2 fucking seconds. 2 seconds.
Flashback
to this. Jerking off a giraffe for 3 to 4 minutes at an aid station over the Golden Gate Bridge. Thank you. In my head, I've been going through the things like, you could have ran down that hill 2 seconds faster. You could have ran up a hill 2 seconds faster. You could have jumped over that branch faster. Like,
just a fraction.
Just a fraction. Just to get that PR. Just to get that fucking 2 second PR. I can't believe it. I can't believe I came that close. But I'm telling myself now, I worked not even remotely as hard as I did during the Vancouver Marathon. But I still managed to get within 2 seconds of a PR. So 2015, I'm going to go for it. Not a marathon PR. Boston. Like, I'm thinking, if I'm where I am now, just like a casual run, if I really set my mind to something and work on speed again,
and if you push
and really push and try, I bet I could do it. Like, it's been like a fucking goal that's so far outside of my spectrum of even possibility.
But I feel
getting
like
a 3:05 or a 3:10 marathon, it could very well be a possibility.
Yep.
So 2015, it's going to be one of my goals of the year. Not within the first 3 months, but like maybe an annual goal, like somewhere by the end of the year.
I feel like Boston qualifying is much closer than you might think it is for you at this point, just because you haven't been doing road or speed or...
To the high volume of comments, comment loading is disabled, click here to continue. Come on. It's because, sorry guys, our chat room is just taking forever to load because our internet signal has kind of sucked balls. I want to read comments. So if you start seeing comments, babe, let's just read them because I think
there's a lot of ultra chat going on.
Yeah, that's fine. We can talk about it. My story is done. That's it. You'll see a lot of it in the video too. Thanks for the runs, much appreciated. The Trail to 100 Miles says, just signed up for my first ultra. Any tips from anyone? We actually did a whole episode of Ginger Runner Live with tips from professionals about how to run your first ultra, how to run your first marathon, how to run your first half marathon. It's all there. Bob Bork, try to find zinc cream. It's super thick and blocks all sun. I use it for lake triathlons. Yes, that was for a comment earlier about Ginger's running in moonlight and getting sunburn. I use sunscreen every single day, 70 SPF or some crazy amount. I mean, I find an oil-free sunscreen, sometimes it can be a little bit more expensive for the higher SPF, but oil-free for me allows me to work out and it won't sweat out with your sweat.
It also allows your pores to breathe and sweat properly.
So important during
long, hot days.
What states of the U.S. would you say has the largest ultra running community? Live in Connecticut. Doesn't seem like there's too much going on here. Oh, man. I don't know. Colorado? I would say Colorado. There's
Oregon?
Oregon, too.
Oregon has a lot
you got Bend, you got Ashland, you got Portland, Eugene, Tracktown. Colorado has a lot of the upper guys, like the guys that are training at altitude. Flagstaff has a big community, but that's a lot of, I don't know, there's a handful of elites that live there, so I don't want to say it's like the best place for ultra runners. San Francisco has a ton. I would say any major metropolis has an incredible community of people that run ultras, run trails, run roads. I would say less so like New York. There's not a ton of trails there.
Yeah, just anywhere that has access.
Access to mountains or outside your back door. Very excited and pooping myself. Always good. Trail 200 miles. Daniel, yes, Sally. I just recently joined and loved it. Making it slow and build up. Cried when I watched your Western States 100 video. Oh yeah. I loved making that video. It was an incredible experience. I was so happy I saw you on the Golden Gate. It actually gave me a burst of energy as I continued beyond because I was so happy. Ashley, were you the one that squealed? Squeed? Squee! That's what they call it. If that was you, you made an incredible noise because it made not just me turn and look, but like a bunch of people. It was like a squee! And everyone was like, what? What the fuck was that? If it was you, you waved, and that was great. Okay. Kim.
Yes.
People want to know. Tell us your experience. Here, I'm going to actually give you this. Might make it a little bit easier.
Is it going to rub, though?
Oh, will it rub? Yeah.
Maybe.
Because you got that. That's the same thing you wore last time.
I think they can hear me.
Yeah. You
I can just cuddle up to you.
Yeah. I smell. I've been driving all day.
Pizza.
Smell like pizza.
So yes, as Ethan mentioned before, this was my 4th time in San Francisco for the run. First half, first year, second half, second year, full 3rd year, returning again for the full. Last year's full was miserable for me. I had a lot of problems going into last year. So this year I kind of went into it feeling a little unsure of how it was going to go. I hadn't done any, 0 long road runs between Big Sur and this point. My focus has changed a little bit. I have signed up for my first 50K, which is in October. So I've kind of been training more specifically for Squamish and for my 50K, so tons of trails, that kind of thing. So I kind of went into this with not many expectations. Felt like I was going to probably do fine. Wasn't looking for a PR or anything like that. So for me, I started in the 7th wave, which was the second to last wave. I believe when we were running through the start line, the announcer had mentioned that we were the biggest wave of the day, and I definitely felt that.
Tilting down.
For the first few miles, I mean, I had people stepping on my heels, and I was stepping on people's heels, and it was kind of like you're almost kind of hopping around just because it was so congested.
It's a bit of a cluster for that first mile.
And it's not, it is fair. I guess it is fairly skinny to run, but it's not the worst.
There are much worse. Yeah, there are races that have huge, thick, wide waves, and then they funnel you down. It's the worst. This is not one of those, but you still get clobbered because some people. I'll get to it in the runner's rant, maybe. There's just a courtesy.
Yeah.
If you're running slow, stay to the right. Sorry.
Yeah. So I, going to this race, like I said, I had pretty much 0 expectations. Again, like what Ethan was saying, I was using it more as a training type run, which is fine. It's an opportunity to run around my favorite city, and I just couldn't pass it up. So when I first started in my corral, I was sitting on the ground kind of stretching, chatting with some people, and I was kind of sitting below the guy that was holding up the sign for the 4:55 marathon finish time. And on there he had his split time average was 11:10 minute miles. And in my mind I'm like, I know for some people that's crawling slow, but for me that's kind of comfortable marathon pace. So I thought, I've never done this before. Maybe I'm going to try and hang with this guy to see if I can be consistent and stick with him for the duration. So that's what I did. Started the race off, and there's probably, I'd say there was at least 20 people in the group that I was running in, and we were kind of trucking along, feeling great. I met a ginger runner in my long leg span who was also in the group, who ran with us for quite a while. What else? Yeah, I don't know. I felt good. I didn't feel like I was pushing. I felt comfortable. It took me a little bit to get into my road running rhythm, just because I just haven't really done it in so long. I don't know if you run into that same.
It's just different.
Thing where it just it feels like it takes you a little bit longer to kind of get into the rhythm, get into the pattern, and.
I incorporated some road workouts into my routine over the last 2 weeks, just prepping for this race. Because you can run trails every single day, but the second you have a road race, you need to run roads. It's such a different animal than trails. Yeah. Trails are a lot lower impact, and a road race will just take its toll on your entire body, not just your knees and joints and stuff, but your back, your shoulders, everything. It just hits a little bit harder. So trying to incorporate road workouts is important, at least leading up to that race.
Yeah. Good, feeling great. feeling much better for me, I guess. I made my way across the Golden Gate Bridge. Was hoping to overlap with Ethan at that point, but we just.
And you were sticking with the pacer pretty good, right?
Yeah, I was right with the pacer. Got to the end of the bridge, kind of, we turned around and started coming back. And at that point, a couple people had kind of dropped off from the group. And there was kind of mumblings like amongst the group being like, is our pacer actually sticking to the pace we're supposed to be sticking to? And I'm like looking at my watch, and we're like in the 950s, low 10s, and it's kind of like, I feel like we're not. Like a lot of people were kind of getting exhausted at that point.
Yeah.
And we were losing people off the group slowly. So, a couple people had mentioned to the pacer, like, I think you're pushing a little bit, harder than what we should be. And he kind of was like, his thing was like, well, I kind of want to bank a few minutes. So if we run into troubles in the last quarter of the race, then we have a little bit of leeway. I have my thoughts and opinions on that, but
there's a question before we continue. Ashley asks, compared to other marathons you have both run, how would you rate the elevation of the San Francisco event? The first half marathon was my first half ever, and the last hills kicked my ass mentally. It's a very tough first half marathon.
It is.
Not just first in general, but like first, because they basically have 4 races at this course. The full marathon, the first half, which is running the first 13.1 miles, or the second half, which is running the second 13.1 miles, or then they have the double where you run the marathon twice, and I'll get to that in a little bit. So I would say, as far as comparing this to other half marathons, it's tough.
The first half marathon of the San Francisco Marathon is the hardest half marathon I've run.
Yeah, there's very few road half marathons that have. I mean, I haven't looked at the stats on it. I'm guessing it's like 1,000 feet of elevation. There are trail races that have more than that, but they're on trails, so they're a little bit more forgiving, and you can power hike. This is all road, and everyone is like, I'm going to run the whole thing. You see people sprinting up the hills. You pass them miles later because they already destroyed themselves. It takes a real smart strategy to run the San Francisco first half marathon.
You're also usually, especially in the first half, dealing with wind.
Yeah, because you're running along the water.
Yeah, it wasn't as bad this year, I think, as it's been, a couple other times, but that's the other factor, is it just makes it's just that extra element.
She goes, I don't know if I was just out of shape or if there was actually challenging. It is challenging.
No, it's hard. Like, I remember the first year I ran the first half. It's a hard half.
And I'll say both of them are pretty tough, because the second half will be fast, but you will destroy your quads if you're not careful. And that is actually a problem with the whole marathon, is that you push hills up for the first half, and then you run essentially the same elevation back down the second half. So if your quads are already destroyed from climbing the first half marathon, they're not going to take you downhill in nearly the condition you want them to. So you really kind of have to balance the whole race. Like, all right, I'm climbing. I need to take it easy because I know I'm going to be descending 10 miles later. So it's this really weird game to play. I'm sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt you.
No. If you please interrupt if anything comes up. So I was sticking with the group, having a good time, feeling spot on, feeling good. My nutrition, hydration, everything seemed good. I did a mix of liquid nutrition and gels. I like liquid. It's just easier for me. And I sailed through to the 13.1 mile mark, and it felt great. And in my mind, I'm going, this could potentially be a PR day for me. Felt good, a little surprised about how good I felt. So I was trucking along. At that point, you're in the park. You're in the park for, what did we find out? Like 6.9 or 6.8 miles?
6.8 miles, you're in the Golden Gate Park.
So you're in the park, it's beautiful.
Beautiful
But you're
park.
in there. But while I was in there, there was a turning point for me where I instantly felt like shit. So I instantly had the gagging happening, me trying to like keep it at bay, a lot of not fun gastro stuff going on. Picked a nice bush in Golden Gate Park to, stop and throw up in, and I'm sure a lot of people got visuals of that. I went from feeling amazing to feeling awful within minutes. So I found myself kind of deciding, and for the first time ever, I mean, I've had some rough races, but for the first time ever, I actually found myself saying, I might have to drop today.
Yeah, this is when she gives me the first phone call. So I had finished. At that point, my plan whenever I finish a marathon is if I finish before Kim, to take the minute that I need to like gather myself, because I'm often usually kind of spent and vomitous at the end, or like I feel nauseous. So I took some time, went and got my bag, and like saw Alex and saw Rochelle, and just was like, hey, you know, I'm gonna turn around and go back out and try to find Kim. And that's when I got the first call from Kim, and it was, so I'm throwing up, I'm not having a good day, I'm thinking about quitting. And I've never, of all the races that she's done, she's often been like, you know, I don't know if I should just leave the course, or if I don't know, I'm going to keep going. This is the first time she's like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be out here. I think I want to quit.
I was in tears.
Yeah, she's not a happy camper. And I told her, I basically said that you have two choices. You can either keep going. I'm sorry, no, you can either quit. You can not finish this race. At that point, I think you called me, it was like mile 19 or 20.
Yeah, 19-ish. I was just coming out of the park, I think.
So she was on Haight Street, which in San Francisco is famous, but it's also really overwhelming because there's lots of smells, there's lots of people. It's not like the best place to be physically when you're not feeling good. I mean, there's lots of homeless people there that are probably going through the same thing you're going through. Surprisingly.
I'm sure I blended right in.
Yeah, you blended right in
between the cars.
Right in with the homeless people. So you have a choice. You can either quit on Haight Street, or you can like just buckle down and walk for like 5 minutes. So just go for a little bit more. Just go for like 5 more minutes, and then call me and update me. So that was my only thing to you, is just, if you need to quit, you can quit.
Yeah.
Or you can call me in 5 minutes.
And at that point, I had also checked in with my coach just to give him kind of a medical rundown of what was happening to me, and just to see what his input was. And he was kind of on the same page as, like, you know, if you cannot get in any nutrition or hydration.
I'm just realizing that having the mouse in the chat room keeps it from loading.
Oh, that was going on?
I pull the mouse out of the chat room, and it fucking blows up.
Oh, okay.
It's been my fault the whole time. I am so sorry, everybody.
So I checked in with my coach at that point, and he kind of said to me, you know, if for some reason, if you cannot keep any hydration or nutrition in, get to a med tent and just see if there's something else serious going on. At this point, I was also getting a lot of low back pain, which worried me that it was like my kidneys, or like there was a lot going on in a very condensed time frame. So after I talked to Ethan, I'd kind of made a decision. Like, in my mind, I was kind of going through this thing where, like, yes, I can easily walk off the course right now and call a taxi and, like, head back down. But I also am, like, very stubborn. And I just... Which
is an amazing quality for an ultra runner.
And just being at, you know, past the 20-mile marker, I just knew if I walked off the course, I'd be so pissed off at myself that I didn't just tough it out, you know. And my thing in races before was, is there a reason you can't put one foot in front of the other? Even if you're crawling along, is there something that is not allowing you to put one foot in front of the other and continue? For me, I'm like, yes, I'm extremely sick. Yes, I'm visiting porta potties often, but there wasn't anything that was debilitating enough that I couldn't just keep kind of trudging along. So that's what I did, and it took me a little bit before I was able to kind of like get a little bit of water in and stuff like that, and I was able to kind of run a little bit, and I was doing this weird kind of little mental game where, like, in my mind I would count out my paces, so I'd count every other step that I took. So I was trying to, one, keep my cadence up on the times that I could run, and two, just find a way to count away the time, I guess, in like smaller chunks. So that was kind of the game that I played for the next little while. And shortly thereafter, there was a guy in his yard, and he had a hose, and he was like, free showers, and he was hosing everybody out. At this point of the day, it was extremely hot also. That was the other thing that
warmed up.
People were dealing with at that point. So I took the opportunity to get the guy hose me down and stuff, and I like instantly started feeling a little bit better. So that was kind of it. I mean, I started just kind of turtling along for the last, I guess at that point, I guess it was the last 3 miles or so, where I text you saying, you know, I'm mile 23 this. Then I knew Ethan was kind of heading out towards me as well. So I just kind of just did a little run, shuffle, walk.
And I knew when I ran into her, I ran into you probably like 25, 24.8, like late in the game. But when I was running up to her, walking, I was not running, she was smiling. So I knew when I saw a smile on her face, she'd either passed through the dark or she was putting on a routine. But normally when she's smiling, it's usually a good sign. So overall, I think as an outsider, not having experienced what you experienced on Sunday, that is the best training for an ultra you could possibly have had.
Yeah, and I mean, you said that to me, my coach said that to me, and like even when I got back to the restaurant finally, like, you know, Alex was talking about it and stuff like that, and I went through those. That race was the first race where I really went through the motions in my mind where like, this, I could potentially drop right now.
But you didn't.
But I didn't.
Yeah, but you
and
didn't.
So I was able to kind of work through whatever was going on and reset my body however it needed to be and just plug away.
If it didn't reset and you were out there for another couple of hours, then, you know, you reassess the situation.
Mm-hmm.
In an ultra, when you're out there for 14 to 24 hours or whatever, you have so many opportunities to try to get the reset. I mean, Joe Chick, I know he's in the chat room, had an incredible experience last year at Pine to Palm. It's a 100-mile race. I don't remember how many miles it was that he was puking. I believe it was 16 or something like that for hours. He had to end up sitting in an aid station for close to an hour or whatever just to kind of reset his system. But he reset his system by taking the time that was necessary and was able to finish the 100-mile race. So it's totally possible for something like that to happen.
Mm-hmm. This was like a mini version.
So the end, what happened at the end?
So I finished the race successfully.
Yeah!
Got a medal and course PR'd.
Can you believe it? She got a course PR even after all of that.
22 minutes course PR.
And you were damn close to a regular marathon PR.
I think I was off by 11 minutes.
But when you take time to throw it between car bumpers, it's understandable. All right, so I'm sorry, guys. There's so many questions and so many comments. I'm realizing that the reason I haven't been getting them is because the mouse has been in the chat room the whole time, which freezes the chat room.
Stupid mouse.
As I see questions, I'll just ask them, and then I'm going to move the mouse out and let the chat room keep scrolling. This is actually from Sally McRae, who is watching. Shout out to Sally McRae. This is a question for Kim. I have a question for Kim. I know you trained hard for this race. What part of your training do you feel helped you the most going into the race?
I mean, I've been working with a coach the last couple months, and he has me doing some different things that I really didn't do before. So, you know, I think working on my speed and tempo, that kind of stuff has helped me, and definitely the strength training. That was something I was really, really skimping on before. I really wasn't doing it. I mean, I was doing abs and core, but that was it. So I feel like those kinds of things combined have helped me. I mean, in the last 2 marathons I've run, I'm growing with each passing month. So. And
I will say that this marathon is the best training, like I already mentioned, for all your future races, not just ultra.
Mm-hmm.
Because you've already been through the worst case scenario, and you know that you can get through it and still get the medal at the end. Time doesn't matter. Let's all remember that. Because your ultimate goal when you start a race like this, whether it's a marathon, a half marathon, or an ultra, you want to finish.
Yeah.
You really just want to finish, right? So you can either play it safe and run the whole race really casual and just know that you can get through at a really easy pace, or you can kind of push your body, challenge yourself. When you run into these adverse situations, you deal with it. You deal with it when you get to it, but just trust that you can get through it. Now, there are cases where it is a medical emergency,
right,
an injury, or something that you need to absolutely listen to. Sally McRae is in the chat room, and that reminds me. Sally, you can probably tell the story better than anybody, but she ran on a broken leg or something like that for 25 miles of AC. You hear that, and you're like, and she finished. She still finished with a sprained leg or a fracture. That's what it was. It was a fracture. A 100-mile race, finishing the last 25 miles with a fractured bone. Sally, you finished, it's an incredible story, but I believe it also took you out of running for a good year, which it's just tough. So, if you're dealing with like physical injury, medical emergency, that's when you can reevaluate.
And that's kind of the things that were going through my head. Like, so many things were going wrong with my body at, like, in an instant that I was actually worried something bigger was happening. And I think that's what triggered me to actually feel like maybe I need to drop and just go to, like, the med tent. Like, maybe something else bigger is going on, And the last thing you want to do is push through something that maybe you shouldn't be pushing through, and it puts you out of the game for, months and months and months.
Yeah.
It's really like there's fine lines, I think. What can you push through? What is a legitimate reason to pull yourself out?
Yeah. So overall, how was your experience?
It was great. When I first saw you on the course, I was grumpy because I knew I was having such a good race, and that I saw the PR possibility just leave. But overall, it was fine. I finished. I was happy. I felt better later that afternoon. I was mostly happy about how my first 18 miles went. For me, that's just a huge step forward for me.
You were flying.
And I just love the San Francisco Marathon. Like, it's always a good experience.
It's a great race. If you have not run the San Francisco Marathon or either of the halves, add it to the list, just because the city itself sells this race. Come in a day early or 2 days early or stay a couple days after to enjoy the city, the food, the drink, like the beer. There's so many great beers and beer bars there, and the food in the restaurants are just incredible. The scenery, you have parks around every corner.
We love it.
We love it. And you can go across the Golden Gate Bridge northward and check out Marin and hike some of those trails. Go say hi to the San Francisco Run Company kids. There's a lot to do in the city, and even neighboring cities and stuff like that. So it's worth the trip if you're not even on the West Coast or in America. It's worth it. And I think their old slogan used to be "Worth the Hurt" or something like that, because it's a tough road marathon. It's absolutely tough. I don't think they have that slogan anymore. So whatever. Sally said, "Yeah, it was a little over 30 miles on a fractured leg. No big deal. It took me out of running for 4 months. Okay, so not a full year, but 4 months. That sucks." Jim Lowe, yep, live to run another day. Totally. So we'll go to comments, because so those are our two stories from the race. Amazing experience, really, really great. I saw some comments earlier. I am not blaming Tailwind for not getting a PR. As much as I can be like, the packages didn't rip, I should have listened to my own advice and tested the packaging before I ran the race.
Yep.
Had I known that, I would have known that I either need to pre-cut and pre-tear, or maybe that particular package just wasn't tear ready. Or, there are ways that I eat. I was even thinking about doing the Ziplocs.
Yeah, I was going to say.
There are so many things that I should have just obeyed, my own rules included. It's my own fault, guys. I'm not blaming anybody or anything except for myself. And I even had a comment like, "Well, you should have been fiddling with your GoPro." You're like, "Don't fiddle. You fiddle with your GoPro, and you're going to waste time." I'm like, actually, that's the one thing I'm pretty much an expert on now. I never fiddle with the GoPro. It is just on when I want it on, and it's off when it's off.
And I think
no
just
time
like
wasted.
Overall, you just need to be proud about your day. You felt good. You took it moderate.
Yeah.
You had a good day.
Yeah.
2 seconds is meh.
Yeah, and today I'm walking around. I'm sore. I'm tight, obviously, but it's a training run, Ethan. I cannot forget that. And the question earlier was, how much am I going to taper for Squamish? Tapering will begin at the end of this week. What's that frowny face?
You just looked sad.
Because, there's this kind of element to training that you kind of get hooked on it.
Yeah.
And I'll be totally honest, I don't feel like I peaked. Either that or I peaked way too early. Because I did a 93-mile week a month ago, and that was way too early. Over a month ago, I think. And an 80-mile week a couple weeks after that, or 86 or something mile week after that, a couple weeks after that. And while that mileage might seem really high to a lot of you, for a race like a 50 and a 50, I don't think my opinion. I don't know that because I'm not a coach.
Shut up.
That actually reassured me a bit is talking to Alex Varner, who did it incredibly well up until mile 18 where he had to drop because of the knee. There's a case of like listening to your body and knowing it is not worth running these extra 8 miles to possibly injure myself further. Alex Varner dropped at 18, but he's totally fine with it because he knows he's going to live to race another day.
Yeah.
But he was mentioning how his peak weeks leading up to Western, he maybe had 2 that were over 100 miles or something like that. And his longest runs were nowhere over 30 miles.
Yeah.
He ran the Way Too Cool 50K, and that was the longest run, but that was a race leading up to Western. Everything else was just quality over quantity. Yeah, 28 or under. It was quality over quantity. So
and he's doing just fine.
He's doing just fine. He's fucking fast. And he did incredibly well at Western, placing 7th in his first 100-mile race. So I'm using stuff like that to kind of boost my expectations as far as Squamish is concerned. I mean, obviously you want to go in confident. I don't know if there's any way I would have been able to go into this race confident, the 50-50. Even if I had run 340-mile weeks, I still would have been like, I don't know, I've never done a 50-miler followed by a 30K or a 50K. You know,
it's also like this particular race, it's just never been done yet.
It hasn't been done.
So there's no precedent. Like there's nothing, there's nobody to compare it to. There's nobody's horror stories or victories to compare it to.
And there's no trails like it in Southern California. There are no trails like it in Southern California. No matter how high you go into the mountains or what sort of trails I'm running up there in like the San Gabriels or anything like that, which are just crazy trails, they're not even close.
No.
They don't even come close. So basically, I'm doing what I can do. I'll probably pack in some good climbing days this week leading up to Squamish, but other than that, I'm going to start tapering pretty early. I want my body rested more than anything. I want my recovery to be spot on because the time I finish that 50-mile race, I have about 12 hours. Hopefully, if I finish the 50-mile race in a certain amount of time, I'll have 12 hours to recover before 50K. All right, so what am I missing comment-wise here? Sally says, Ethan and Kim, you two look great. You did great. You're just great. Thanks, Sally. I'll do it same day, pre or post. It doesn't matter. I didn't read that. Strength training. People are talking about strength training. I think that's also really important. I need to start.
That's what I was saying.
I was gonna say I need to start doing that for Squamish. I'm about 2 months too late on that. But after the marathon, I actually felt a lot of lower ab.
Yeah.
Just not strain, like they're not super injured, but it's sensitive, tender. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been doing like 2 strength training days a week, plus on some of my tempo runs or hill repeats, I will do a series of squats in between each hill repeat as well.
Sorry, I didn't mean to
I have lazy just like here.
Keep talking.
I have lazy glutes.
Lazy glutes. I think everyone has a lazy glutes.
Yeah.
I have lazy glutes. The question is, Kim and Ethan, did you two get into Big Sur next year? We didn't
try, yeah.
Want to know why? It's a clusterfuck. They are doing it different this year, and it sounds not even remotely fun.
Amazing race, but I don't think they don't have their registration nailed down. They are trying something different this year, but it doesn't sound like it's making anybody any happier.
And I believe there's actually another race on that same weekend that I really wanted to race this year, but I couldn't because I was doing the Big Sur. I forget which one it is, but we are not running Big Sur next year. It is a fantastic, beautiful marathon.
Yeah.
We have no reason not to run it other than it's a cluster to register for. I don't know. That's basically it.
Yeah.
Okay, kind of scrolling through here, guys. Scrolling through the comments. We're actually gonna shut this podcast down here in just a couple of minutes, but I want to make sure they get through these comments. I haven't been paying since having the mouse over the chat room obviously hasn't scrolled up, so there's a lot that we're missing.
I just want to touch on, I know you touched on it a little bit earlier, but we cannot tell you guys how much we appreciate you like coming and saying hi to us and telling us your stories at races, and we love it. And we had a couple perfect examples of it this weekend, and it's great. You guys
are there. I mean, we have a blast doing what we do. I love making films. I love like showing you these race experiences. There's not many people out there doing it on a regular basis. Some people have done it, oh, I'm going to film myself run this marathon or whatever. But there's just so much I want to show you that we do, and like the trails that we run and like all this stuff. There's just so much that I still have yet to show you, or these stories to tell. that I'm really, really excited about doing this. But when we go to a race like the San Francisco Marathon and we meet you in person, it's like, holy fuck, this is cool.
Like having somebody, we had, an example. We had somebody come up to us after the race. I think he finished just right around when I
Night,
finished.
Sally's taking off. She's taking
and he was, called us out, and we took a picture and stuff. And he told us that was his first full marathon, and that we helped inspire him to do it.
That was neat. It
was a really good moment.
It was really, really cool. He had just finished, had his medal, super stoked. And to be told that you are the reason I am running this race, or you inspired me. It's like, how are we inspiring when it's people, I don't know, it's the stories that you guys are telling us.
Yeah.
We met some guy that had lost, I think he's in the chat room. He might still be watching. It was his second half marathon or first half marathon, I forget. He was talking about how he never thought he could do this, and here he was. And he was rocking it. It's like, man, there's so many people out there who are changing their lives for the better. It's
inspirational for us,
awesome. I love it. I absolutely love it. So we will continue to do what we do. I will continue to make films. I will continue to do these live shows. I will continue to share experiences and talk to you guys and get your experiences. If you see us at any races, please come up and high five. Take a sneaky selfie. Introduce yourself. Tell us your story.
Take a jump photo with me.
Take a jump photo. Kim loves a good jump photo. Do not touch us. Just no. Well, yeah. Well, of course, don't touch us.
We're usually sweaty when you guys.
We're usually pretty sweaty. Like, you don't want to get that shit on you. Guillaume Calmette. Have a good night, guys. Always a pleasure to watch. How has he been in the chat room this whole time? And I had no idea.
I'm having so much fun.
I am having so much fun. Guillaume is the best. For those of you who do not know, Guillaume Calmette is in the chat room. He will be running AC 100 next weekend. Whoo boy.
Probably very fast.
Probably very fast. Here's my prediction. It is gonna be a race of like 4 guys: Guillaume, Dom Grossman, Chris Price, Jorge Pacheco. There might be 2 or 3 other guys that you can throw into the mix that I might not know. Those 4 guys are going to completely destroy that race.
There's some fasties in there.
Fasties, and they've got some bones to pick and some things to prove, and it's going to be such a rad race.
Yep.
Such a cool race. So Guillaume, thanks for watching, man. Miss your face. Hope you're well. It seems like your training is going excellently. You are one crazy ginger, says Cody. Thank you.
Talking to me, I think.
Oh yeah. You are one crazy ginger. Yeah. So fun. How interactive it is. Yeah, I mean, I wish it was more interactive. I wish look, here the mouse is.
You had it.
And look, all the comments come through. I'm an idiot. Why do they do that? No one can fiddle with their GoPro like you, Ethan. Thanks, Sergio. I like that you put quotes around fiddle. Next time.
Next time I won't make weird noise. So that was just
it. I'm doing a terrible impression of it. It was more just like a woo, or it's like a. It was some noise that obviously you would not hear on the Golden Gate Bridge. It wasn't a car driving over a crack. It was pretty quiet. Like, all you could really hear were just runners running, right? There weren't a ton of conversations or anything. So when someone goes, whoa, or something like that, you turn and look. And you didn't say Ginger, you didn't say Ethan, or you didn't say anything like that. So I turn, and a bunch of other people turn, and there's just some girl waving. So I'm like, oh, she's not looking at me. Wait. And she's like, still waving. So I was like, hey. So I apologize for not really acknowledging the wave. I didn't know if you were waving at me, but apparently it is in fact you, so that's pretty cool. The trail to 100 miles. Guys, just wanted to say half of the reason why I'm getting so back into racing is watching your videos. Such massive motivation. Fuck yeah, man. Lost the power of typing. We've lost the power of talking. You inspired my first 10K trail. Nice, Danielle. That's awesome. I know you've been a long-time viewer. That's rad. I saw some discussion of the 10K trail race, if you've already run it, or if you're talking about running it soon. Joe Chick, always a pleasure, dude. Miss your face.
We're going to see you in like 3 weeks.
Joe Chick, we're going to see you in Squamish. And, hey, man, if you want to run the 50-50 with me and, make sure that we get through it together, then that'd be rad. I don't know anyone else doing the 50-50 except for Michael Wardian.
I think Joe is volunteering on Sunday.
Yeah, a lot of people are doing one day and volunteering for the next. Yeah. If you are going to Squamish,
As
Do
far
it.
as the rumors that I heard as of last week, I think they're still looking for volunteers for the Sunday. So if anybody's in the
Yeah.
area,
I honestly don't know how many people would be watching the show that might be doing Squamish. But if you are going to Squamish, please plan on staying for the full weekend. It starts on Friday. I think there's a film festival on Friday night, the 50-miler race on Saturday, the 50K and 23K race on Sunday. It's just going to be a blast. And I imagine Sunday night is going to be a fucking hoot. Big old party. House on Brewery is going to be out of control.
Yeah.
And there's some mountain bike racing going on that weekend too, so it's going to be just nuts.
It's going to be crazy.
It's going to be crazy. Yeah. So please stay the weekend. It's totally worth it. Same like Rain Shadow running races. Those weekends are just so much fun. Gerardo. This past Sunday, I run my first half marathon in Tijuana, and you really inspire me to do it. Before that, my longest race was 15K. Love
That's
it.
Great.
Where can I see your video of the San Francisco Marathon? Gary, we just finished it. It's not up yet.
Last year's is.
Where can I see your video of the San Francisco? You will find it on this YouTube channel, youtube.com/thegingerrunner. But it will be a bit, because I just finished the marathon yesterday and drove today.
Yeah.
So there's not much editing going on while I'm driving.
We're driving tomorrow.
We're driving tomorrow. I still have to release Training for Squamish episode 4 before Squamish, and also have to do this video for San Francisco Marathon. So both those race videos will drop before Squamish, because Squamish will have its own video or two.
Yeah.
Ethan, IPR by 18 minutes on the second half run. Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Stephen Murphy, I watched Ginger's tips for a marathon 3 years ago before my first half marathon. 3 years later, I did my first half Ironman this year. Huge thanks to the Ginger.
Wow.
Hell yeah. Half Ironman is no joke. Absolutely no joke. Raul Angle, I'll be in Montaigne? Oh, Montana. I'm exhausted.
Our eyes are tired.
Yeah, okay,
I know,
so
I'm also
definitely going to call it. Caleb Price, I just ran my first 30-mile trail run, and I'm 16, all because of your motivation and information on running. Dude, excellent work. Excellent work. Great job, Caleb. So that's actually it. We're going to kind of wrap it up. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I did it again. If there's anything else that we should cover tonight. Did I miss anything? Anything about our stories? Anything from the trip?
I don't think so. I think you're...
Arm-pitty.
Ooh. Arm-pitty.
Look, I'm sweating in my arm.
That's why you don't wear sleeves. Nobody can tell.
Yeah. Oh, God. Just driving all day and barely walking today is not good. It's
also humid in San Francisco.
It's really fucking hot in here, actually. Ethan, what's your nutrition plan for the 2 days?
Donuts and popcorn.
Jim, I'll be honest. I'm gonna stick with Tailwind. I've used Tailwind up to the 32-mile distance. That is about where I am with Tailwind. Beyond that, it's anyone's guess. I'm gonna stick with Tailwind as long as I possibly can. I will have backups and additional things that I will throw into the mix. I'll have goos, so Roctanes, some of the salted caramel goos, which I love. And Pocket Fuel. I'll have a couple Pocket Fuels, both the cold brew coffee, as well as some of their nut butters. I prefer the chocolate haze or vanilla haze. It's much easier to go down on the long runs. I might bring some Perpetuum, because Perpetuum is a little bit smoother, like milky flavor, and this flavor is a little bit more subtle than Tailwind. So,
Runner's Rant.
Yeah, well, the way I have audio set up is I don't think that'll work.
Oh.
But we can do it. We can try. We'll hopefully make it work. So that's what I'll stick with for nutrition, and then aid stations. I know that Squamish running it last year, there weren't a ton of options at aid stations. You'd have to wait for the big aid stations like Alice Lake. Alice Lake? I think it's Alice Lake, Quest University. Those are some of the bigger aid stations where you have a huge smorgasbord, like watermelon and fruits and all sorts of really, really delicious things. But there were aid stations in the middle of nowhere where you would get there and you'd be like, oh, I can't wait to have watermelon. I can't wait to have watermelon or pretzels or goos or something. And there's that one aid station in the middle of nowhere that had circus peanuts. That was it.
Because some of the locations are pretty remote.
Very remote, so they can't truck in a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try to be as independent as possible. Self-sufficient. Yeah. And I learned the lesson last year by carrying 2 handhelds that's not going to work. Because there are sections that might be 6 miles, but it could take upwards of 2+ hours. It's that tough. So I will most likely do the bladder system, maybe with an additional bottle. I have not yet decided. I am out of it. I need to figure it all out. I just scratched my chest, and look how much sweat accumulated. That's how sweaty I am under this shirt. Also, the shirt is the one that I was talking about that shouldn't smell. It doesn't smell.
Take it off. Take it
No,
off.
definitely not. What did I miss?
Oh, I just pointed at the runner's rant.
Oh, runner's rant. All right, let's see if we can do that.
'Cause
Do you have one, babe? Do you have one?
I have one from
Okay, great.
marathon.
All right, here we go. Runner's rant.
Runner's rant.
I hope the audio came through on that. Kim, what's your runner's rant?
Quick and dirty version is I saw this a number of times during the marathon, and it pissed me off. People, runners, eating their goos or whatever, their gels, and putting their garbage down on the ground, just where I saw it happen on the Golden Gate Bridge. You know where that garbage is going to end up?
In the water.
People just put your empty packet back in your wherever it came from. Wait till you get to an aid station. It makes me mad. Just because you're paying to run a race doesn't mean you can litter your garbage all over the city.
I saw that so much. People taking gels, and if you're running on a road, like through the park, through the Golden Gate Park, if you're taking a gel and you're running on a road and you're just gonna throw your wrapper, throw it on the road, because if you're gonna litter, do it on a place where someone can clean it up. I saw so many people take their gels or take their nutrition and then throw it into the bushes, throw it into the park. Like, no one's going to get that. What are you doing?
And also in the park, there's actual garbage cans.
There are garbage cans. Here's what you do. You take your gel and you hold it until you see that garbage can up there 100 feet, and you throw it in that.
Actually, if I went and got my water bottle thing right now, you could unzip it, and all my empty packets are probably in there.
You know, and it's good to count. It's good to have count. Like, if you lose count of how deep you are into nutrition or whatever, it's good to have a good count. My cap sacks have a pocket, and I put my litter into my pocket of my cap sacks.
I was going to say, throwing your garbage onto the ground in races like this are the exact reason why some races just will never, ever come back. Races will have troubles getting permits and stuff if they make a giant mess in the city.
You're paying a lot to run a race, but please just don't think I'm paying $150 so some guy can come clean up my mess. I'm going to do what I want. Please don't think that way.
It's the worst.
Please don't think that way.
Nothing makes me more mad. When I'm on the trails and I see it, I pick up the garbage, but there's no way I haul around a big garbage bag.
Yeah. Okay, so my runner's rant is, if you're slow, stay to the right. Even if you're fast, stay to the right. You stay to the right because people will pass you on the left. If you are running on the left and you're not going as fast as the people on your right, you need to move over. When you're running, the reason this is being brought up, running across the Golden Gate Bridge is two-way traffic. There are people running in both directions. It's one lane, one car lane, split in half. Actually, it's two car lanes. It is two car lanes with a divider down the middle. So outgoing runs in one lane, incoming runs in the other lane. This is full lanes of traffic, but it's still not a lot of room.
It's congested.
You're still running 4 to 5 people wide. And there's lines where you're going at a certain pace, and there's a line of 5 people that are not moving. So they're running at this speed, and you need to get around them. So the only option you have is to run into oncoming runners and slide back in, because these people don't want to slide over and congregate to the right of where they need to be running. Happened so often. Happened one time when a guy was trying to pass a group of slow runners because they were taking up the whole lane, and he basically plowed into an oncoming runner, fell down, smashed up his knees because he happened to fall on a grate, a metal grate. It was terrible. I was running inbound, so I was coming back, and I saw this happen, and it's like, you stop, and you're like, dude, you all right? You all right? You can't even stop because people running behind you were trying to run through and stuff like that. He was fine. Totally fine, but it's dangerous. Stay to the right. That's my runner's rant. Let's click on it.
Runner's rant.
Can't see that and not laugh.
You're welcome. So many people asking for the runner's rant, so might as well do it. Okay, so we're gonna go enjoy the hot tub and enjoy the rest of this. You want some?
Nope.
Great. Thank you guys so much for being so patient tonight. I cannot thank you enough for hanging around for a couple of hours and waiting for us to get to our hotel so we can get some Wi-Fi and we can actually do this live show. I can't wait to show you some of the footage that I shot. That's it. Where can people find you, babe?
Facebook.com/milelonglegs. legs. My website, milelonglegs.com, ETKIMBERLEYDT.
Let me remind you, we do this for fun. Remember that we run for fun. The second that it becomes not fun is a bad moment. So let's not let that moment happen. Let's continue to have fun. Something just wasn't what you were saying, but thinking of the runner's rant and thinking of the passing and stuff like that. I remember, I don't know, there's some conversation or something that someone said online in one of my comments, or I posted something and someone said something that sparked me to go, whoa, 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 whoa. Why are you running? Why do you run?
Yeah.
Run because you enjoy it. Run because it's fun. That's kind of the note that I want to leave you with. But that's a whole other episode, I'll be totally honest. Thank you so much. You guys, subscribe to this channel, youtube.com/thegingernunner. You will see all the videos as I post them. I posted 3 reviews last week, the Skechers Go Meb Speed 2, the Go Run 3, and the Go Run Ultra. Go check those out. Go watch my crewing Western film. It's my last film that I posted. I'm really proud of it. It was kind of a last-minute thing to do, and I'm so glad I did. I'm really, really glad I filmed that. I cannot wait to share more films with you. So many new ones coming out. And even on our drive down today, we were coming up with some really cool ideas for future things.
We got a lot
brewing, guys. Like big shit.
Yeah.
Like big shit. Oh, the buffs, the Train Race Beer buffs. They're being made. They're being made right now. I think I get mine. I get one in advance just to look at it to make sure it is good and it works. I think I get it in like a week. The rest will be 4 to 5 weeks after. So it will be a bit. Probably by the end of August. But they will be available. Yeah.
And they're going to be awesome.
Oh, I fucking hope they are. Thank you guys for watching. I think that's it. Subscribe. Follow me on Twitter @TheGingerRunner. Over on Facebook, Facebook.com/TheGingerRunner. You can follow me on Instagram @EthanNewberry. And you guys are great. I'm here every single Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific, unless, of course, we're traveling from a marathon and it turns into like 8:30 or something like that. But I will try to let you know as far in advance as possible. But 6 p.m. 6 p.m. And next Monday will be a good one because... Just because it's a fucking Monday. And it's 2 weeks before Squamish. Oh boy.
Tick-tock.
Tick-a-tock. Tick-a-tock. That's it. Drop a line on one of our Facebooks or Twitters or whatever. Let us know that you guys watched the show and what your favorite part of this was. Maybe it was the hotel room and that sculpture coming out of Tim's
Maybe it's
head.
us saying goodbye.
Maybe it's us saying goodbye. Oh, that was the best part. We had over like 110 viewers tonight, which is good.
That's great.
That's great. Especially for being so late. So we appreciate it. You guys are great. I'll see you guys next Monday.
Bye.
Goodbye.